Okay, so we're looking at definitions for some important definitions that are going to help you with your programming. And we've already looked at instruction, procedure, command, and reporter. The next one we have here is input. Okay, so input is the information a procedure needs before it can be invoked. Okay, so for example, the following instruction forward in the following instruction forward 50 is the input to the forward command. Okay, so when I say invoked, actually let's look at that one too, because I'm using that word in here. So a procedure is invoked when it's made to do its work. Okay, so procedures are invoked in a particular order, blah blah blah. Let's skip that for now. I just want you to know for input that something gets invoked when it's made to happen. Okay, so you can't go forward 50. Foo can't make a turtle go forward 50 until he sees the forward and then the 50. Okay, if he just has the forward, he doesn't know how far to go. Okay, so the input he needs is the 50. All right, input is the information he needs. And as we said in the last video, some commands, some procedures, including, and these can be commands or reporters, some commands do not need any inputs to do their job, like home, right? Or clean, or pen up, right? Or presentation mode. Okay? None of these these are all commands that need 0 inputs. There are reporters that need 0 inputs. I could say show xcore. I could say let's see, I could say what else is I could say forward size. Okay, so size doesn't need any inputs. Xcore doesn't need any inputs. Okay, so these are reporters that can send input to somebody else without needing input themselves. So they can output information without needing any inputs. So xcore will output the x coordinate, size will output the size of the turtle. You don't need to tell them anything else. Okay, but show does need an input, and forward needs an input. All right. So this is what's cool about this about Logo, is you can take these, you can kind of put these words together by saying, oh, okay, if you need input, you can either give you input like this, or show 40, or I can use a reporter to gather some information to feed you, to output something that can be used as input for show. So really, so the way to think about it is the output for this reporter is the input to show. Okay, this is just a plain old 40, so 40 is the input to show. Here, just the word hello is the input to show. Here, the output of size is the input to show. Okay, so that's input. Oh, I guess I talked about output too then, didn't I? So input is, basically the instruction is not complete until all the input that's needed has been provided. Okay, so FD by itself is not a complete instruction. It needs the input to FD to be a complete instruction. So 50 is the input, and the output is the stuff that the reporter reports. Okay, the output of the reporter. So for example, here we got another example here. Forward product of 5 and 10. Let me write that one down. and you can try all these out. I suggest you do too, just to get a feel for how these things work. So forward by the product of 5 and 10. Well, product, so product is a procedure. It's a reporter, okay, that reports the product of two numbers, okay. So what's going to happen here? Product is going to multiply 5 and 10 together, and the output of product then is going to be 50. So so product is a reporter. It takes two inputs and then it outputs the product of those two inputs. Okay. So it's going to output a 50. The output of product becomes the input to forward. So we go yoink like that. Okay. So that's the idea of output. So input is the information that comes in that you need to put into another procedure. So forward can't do its job unless it gets the 50. So 50 is the input. Output is what comes out of a reporter after it does its job. So product, so the reporter product takes these two inputs, 5 and 10, and passes off 50. It outputs 50. And that output is always used as input to another procedure. So we have this procedure forward, the output of product becomes the input for forward. And we'll talk more about inputs and outputs when we get into diagramming more. But so just remember, input is the information a procedure needs before it can be invoked, and a command. Some commands need inputs. Some reporters need inputs. Some commands don't need any inputs, and some reporters don't need any inputs. Okay, but only reporters have output. The output is the information that the reporter provides after it does its job. So this reporter product takes these two inputs, 5 and 10, and outputs a 50. And that output then becomes the input to forward. Okay? A word. You know what? Okay, so yeah, let's save word, list, evaluate, and invoke for the next video. But so hopefully by now input and output make sense. And remember again, like I said, a command can have 0 or more inputs. A reporter can have 0 or more inputs. But a command never outputs anything. And a reporter always outputs. Always has one output.